again, taking the opportunity on the 1st of January 2023, as it's warm and the roads dry, there's no salt on them, to take a couple of my cars for a spin. You can see the Flavia in front of us. We've just done a quick drive around in that after its engine's gone back in. So we're now in the 1970 Fulvia Saloon, or Berlina 4-door. Much rarer, I think, than the coupes. Obviously the Fulvia Coupe is a very well-known classic. The Berlina less so, but to many, specifically me, I think it's it's a much nicer drive than the coupe. I don't know why. It's probably had more R&D money into it, to be honest. Anyway, we're going to start it up, take it for a drive, similar route to the one we did in the Flavia today. It takes a long time to fire up because the fuel takes a long time to get to the carb, so full choke, which is under here, and to start it, it's a push button on the key. Well, I know we're in neutral because I've just pushed it out the garage. So it's not a bad starter. It just needs a good old crank to get the fuel up. I'm still on full choke, as you can see from the light. Same light for the handbrake and the choke. That little squirty symbol there is the choke. That one is the handbrake. I'll just show you something slightly weird about the Fulvia. That when the ignition's off, the water temperature gauge actually reads the current temperature of the water. When I collected this car from southern Italy, that temperature was already reading over 70. It was a really hot day in Lavello. So this is, if you don't know the Fulvia, this is a 1300 V4. Lovely car. We last used this as a family back end of the summer holidays to do a week's camping in northern France. Oh yeah, that clears that post nicely. No power steering on this one, unlike the Flavia, so kind of like the baby brother of the Flavia, the Fulvia. Put the handbrake on, so to go and shut the garage door. Right, you see token seatbelts on. So what's different about this? On the Fulvia you get maximum oil pressure when it's cold, and it pretty much stays at maximum as long as the engine's being driven. When it's warm and idling, it still gives you about 35 psi, which is much higher than the Flavia, but I'm told that's normal. Pretty simple heat controls. Hot, hot, cold, cold. That's fresh air, more or less. Heated rear windscreen. Undo these to get to the fuse box. That lever's out on a little hinge. Ashtray for in-car smoking. Not very common these days. Obviously some evidence of in-car smoking, but then it is an Italian car, so kind of what you expect. Not sure if you can see it, but a fairly nasty sort of retro looking radio that isn't great because there's no external aerial on this car. Anyway, let's go for a spin. See, water temperature, again, just obviously really cold. Full tank of fuel, try and keep a full tank of fuel in over the winter. There's opportunity for moisture to damage the tank, and a rusty tank is something this car's never had. So I bought this car in the summer of 2020. Was it 2019? 2019, I think. I found it on Auto Scout 24, which is almost as dangerously addictive as heroin. Apparently, oh, hold on, the bonnet's open. That's bad. That's bad automotive admin. So the bonnet's open, probably had the battery on charge at some stage. Hold on. good. Bonnet's now closed. So 40 kilometres on this tank of fuel, which is probably about a gallon, as this car does about 35 miles to the gallon, which is great. No complaints there. I only realised that this is the reset for the trip, and only after reading the Fulvia instruction manual did I work out how this one worked. I always thought this was broken, but actually you push it in and you twist it. It's really difficult because it's never been really used in the last 50 years. But I find it really useful to zero the trip every time I fill the fuel tank. And I know this car does around about 360 miles on a tank. Well, about 360 miles before the little red light comes on. As you can see, the fuel gauge is working nicely, charging right in the middle, where you'd want it to be. So the characteristics of this car compared to the Fulvia, it's just more nimble. The steering is just as lovely. Same steering wheel, I think, exactly the same steering wheel, sort of ribbed on the bottom. This has an all electric horn, whereas the Fulvia has a couple of air horns, to make other road users aware of your presence, which is the correct use of the horn. The clock was working on this car. It's now not working. I don't know what it is that wears out in the clocks, but they can be fixed. But yeah, nice to have, but doesn't really affect the driving experience for me. You can't quite see the gear stick in shot, but it's lovely. It feels a bit like a pool ball with an inset of the gear pattern. What is slightly weird is, obviously it's a standard H gate, first, second, third, fourth, but you kind of, from first to second, you kind of pull it towards you, a little bit diagonally towards you, and it's the same line for third, fourth. It's slightly towards you rather than just straight front to back. So here we are, what are we, almost 50 miles an hour, fourth gear, just cruising on very happily. I think this car has had, I bought this from the third owner. The third owner's uncle bought it from the family of the first owner, and I can tell it's been done the majority of its mileage with the same driver because of the foot wear pattern on the carpets. There's the same, there's just a patch where he obviously put his clutch foot, and I think he or she had slightly smaller feet than me, because I put my feet in the same place, but my feet are slightly overlapping the original wear marks on the carpet, which for me, that's part of owning a classic car. It's thinking about the people that bought it when it was new and how they used it. Obviously the Lancias were a real premium brand over sort of Fiats, and I think probably Alfa Romeos as well back in the day. Very traditional Italian design, the three-box shape for these saloon cars. Some may say austere, but I think I don't think the Italian design was much for showing off with their saloon cars. Obviously they did some very exotic supercars in the day, like the Miura, although apparently it wasn't that fantastic, but no one's going to knock a Miura these days. But this car took us over to northern France in the summer with a boot crammed absolutely full of camping kit and one dog. So taking a dog to Europe these days is a bit of a trial, as pet passports no longer work for English people post-Brexit. So we had to get an international health certificate for the dog. People out on their New Year's Day walk. This car has quite the most beautiful windscreen wipers. The original ones are on it, unlike the Flavia, which has just got some plastic modern ones. So let's just spin it up here. I'll stop here for a bit of a first gear call up this hill because it's pretty steep. And as the engine's still cold, I don't want to annoy it. So similar to the Flavia, it's pretty much the same sort of gearbox on this car. The first to second's not great when the gearbox is cold, but as soon as it warms up, then it's fine. Doing a slightly shorter route than we did in the Flavia today. Time for a Caffeine and Machine drive-through to see what's in the car park, see what the youth are driving these days. There's very light throttle, it's about half throttle. Fourth gear. Such compliant suspension on these Lancias that it's not particularly worried by the bumps and undulations of the road, whereas if you go in something a little bit more sporty you have to be a bit more careful. Looks like rain on the horizon, so we'll try and get home before that hits. Features have we got in the Fulvia? Not too many, to be honest. That's the rheostat for the dash lighting, which does work. These cars are lovely to drive at night. The headlights are fantastic, because you've got 4 individual headlights up front, 2 for side, 2 for full beam. My son and I take great pleasure in enjoying the full beam blue light in these cars. We kind of grade a car on the quality of the blue light. Some have been very harsh, I've owned in the past. You don't want a blue light that blinds you for full beam. Whereas this one is lovely and mellow. A bit like the whole driving experience, to be honest. What's great about these steering wheels is they have these little ridges in the top, and they're a great place for your thumbs to sit. You do get a bit of a steering wheel thumbprint, and actually you get quite a lot of control out of this wheel just by the ridges on the top, using your thumbs. Just going past Caffeine and Machine again. Looks busy but dull, but everyone's car's choice is different. So we'll do a quick drive through. It's a Sunday weekend, so you do need a ticket if you want to stop at Caffeine and Machine. £10 for 3 hours, but they give you £5 that back to pay for food or drinks, so it's not too bad. But this road is a bit notorious now because it's a difficult road at best of times. Deer have crossed this road for centuries, I think. And unfortunately, it's very common for a car to come in contact with a deer. But it's not helped by Caffeine and Machine, because you can reach some pretty high speeds on this bit of road. It was shut the other day, and I think it was probably shut because somebody hit a tree, and sadly it looks like a fairly unpleasant accident, which is just up here on the right hand side. It's fresh scars on the tree, and it's something that I haven't seen on this road since before Caffeine and Machine opened, so I can only make the assumption that it's people that are getting overexcited, which is easy to do when you're a young man driving a fast car. Anyway, let's have a look at Caffeine and Machine in the Fulvia. Some cars in fourth gear, you think you could desperately use fifth, but this isn't one of them. This is fourth gear now, 50 miles an hour, 3,000 revs, 4,000 revs, 4,500 revs is still a very comfortable cruising speed for the engine. It very happily does 70 miles an hour on a motorway, or on any road really, where legal to do so. We don't want PC Niaz Waddington trying to stop us, for fans of motorway cops or whatever it is. Yeah, police tape in the trees. It's not great. I don't think the Renault in front of us will be going to Caffeine and Machine, but whatever's in front of it will be. We've got a little Mark 1 MX-5 behind us. Ooh, wrong dial. So this is where I just wind my window down and explain to the chap on the gate that I'm just driving through. So we'll see. We've got Rover 25, RX-7, GT4, many GT products. Nice little micro over there. A Lambo Gallardo, I think. Is it a Murcielago? Very posh looking 911. Evora. That's a 911 GT3. What else have we got? Oh, gotta wind my window down. Hello. I'm good. I'm just actually driving through.
Okay, yeah, no.
Thank you very much.
That's right, yeah. I mean, if you want to come later as well, we've got 4 till 7 slot.
Brilliant. I'll do. Thank you.
Maybe, yeah.
Cheers. Thanks. There we go. Always nice folk here. Always nice and friendly. Just wind the other window back up. So what else have we got? There, that is a nice looking. I think it's a 992 turbo. I'm not quite sure. 911 Turbo S. A BMW that's a bit low. It must be on air, else it would never even get out of here. Oh look, there's a Lupo with many different coloured doors. It's Honda, little Micra. Was that a Polo? No, it's definitely a Lupo. I think it was the Polo Harlequin that had many different colours, so someone has mimicked that with a Lupo. Very groovy. I like that. Some MX-5s, little Alpha GTV. I think that might be an Escort. No, it's a Golf Mark 1. But yeah, oh, a Xantia. Look at that. Beauty. What else have we got? Well, lots of good stuff. Always interesting machinery at Caffeine and Machine. And they're quite happy for you just to drive through. There's, I don't know if you can see that, but on the other side of the road it says, "Don't be a dick." Which means don't leave the venue like a complete nozzer, because that's when you're likely to crash. I'm going to veer onto the other side of the road here just to avoid a huge puddle, as long as it's safe to do so, because we don't want PC Niaz Waddington arresting us for dangerous driving. There we go. It's third gear. Engine in this car is beautifully sweet. That's flat out. Slow down a little bit. In case you Who is behind us. Yeah, this road is another road that often has deer crossing. Mainly in the morning and the evening, dusk and dawn, when deers go wherever they go at night, or go wherever they go during the day. Somewhere nice to eat, I guess. But there, that's an overview of the Fulvia. Hope you've enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Any advice, welcome. So you've seen my Fulvia, you've seen my Flavia, you've seen a video of the W124 Mercedes I collected from France. I've also got Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit 2 and a little Mazda MX-5. So, and I will also do a video on the Lupo at some stage.